Welcome to Sweet Cherry Novel, where we share heartwarming, romantic love stories just for you. The day Julian Xu's White Moonlight returned, I was helping him organize documents. That bastard. He never prepares in advance and only remembers me when something is urgent. He clearly said I had today off, but before the workday even started, he had already dragged me out of bed. He roughly shoved me into the car, stepped on the gas, and drove straight to the company. After handing off the work to me, he sped off again. I actually thought he had a business deal worth hundreds of millions to discuss, and was just about to praise him for his diligence. Who knew? Who knew that bastard was actually running off to pick up his white moonlight? I discreetly leaned over to a colleague, wanting to get some gossip. After all, if even I, his personal secretary, knew nothing, how could they possibly know? A friend of mine just saw Julian at the airport. It's a good thing I often show her pictures of him, so she recognized him right away. I won't comment on her reasons for showing Julian's picture to other people. She held the phone out to me, zooming in on the photo right in front of my face, as if I were severely nearsighted. I really wanted to say that my vision is 20/20 on both sides. I only wear these glasses for show. Secretary Zhang, you don't know CEO Xu's schedule for today. I pushed up my glasses and gave a faint smile. Subordinates like us are only responsible for the boss's work. We have no right to, and should not, manage his private affairs. Xiao Zhang, don't you agree? Xiao Zhang, suddenly put on the spot, flinched. She glanced between me and Tina, then quickly replied, right. Secretary Zhang is absolutely right. Tina, seeing I had no reaction, snorted in annoyance. Some people think a pretty face is all it takes to climb into the boss's bed. Who knew? The man already has his white moonlight. At best, she's just a stain from a dead mosquito on the wall, an eyesore from the past. Let's see how long she can act so proud. After saying her piece, Tina shot me a glare and stomped away on her 8-centimeter high heels. I nonchalantly rubbed my neck. It felt a little stiff. Everyone in the company knows Tina, and I don't get along, yet our desks are right next to each other. It's like adding fuel to the fire. I used to argue back, but eventually, I got bored and couldn't be bothered. She mostly just repeats the same few phrases, none of which are worth my anger. It's just that today's business is a bit troublesome. The person in that photo, if I remember correctly, is Julian's unrequited college love, Claire Zhang. She really is beautiful and pure. No wonder Julian has remembered her and been unable to forget all these years. And yet, he ended up marrying someone completely opposite to Claire. That's right, I am the person secretly married to Julian Xu. I knew from the beginning that he only married me because of family pressure. It's not that I lack money, but whoever complains about having too much. So, I accepted his conditions, secretly took the household registration book from my mother's house, and quickly registered our marriage. My secret married life with my boss began just like that. In the blink of an eye, more than a year had passed. Our life together has gradually become harmonious. That, of course, includes our time in bed. Now, Claire has returned. I was momentarily unsure of what to do. Of course, it's not because I have any lingering feelings for Julian. If he threw a 5 million yuan card in front of me right now, I would sign my name and leave immediately, without any hesitation. But clearly, Julian isn't that foolish. Back when we had our whirlwind marriage, he calculated every single cent of my living expenses, which he pays once a month, even more punctually than my own payday. He is truly the businessman of businessmen. Miss Zhang, it's quitting time. Aren't you going home yet? Xiao Zhang had finished packing her things. Seeing me still staring into space, she gave me a gentle reminder. Only then did I realize it was time to clock off. The golden rule for office workers is to never work a single minute for free. Of course, if it's paid overtime, that's another story. Downstairs I received a text from Julian. Mr. Xu has money, I won't be back for dinner tonight. Go to bed early. Tsk. He's that eager to be with his white moonlight, is he? I replied without any emotion. Understood, CEO Xu. After that, I turned off my work phone, pulled out my personal phone and sent a message to my girlfriends. In the Rich Girls Club group chat, I typed, "Sisters, let's go wild. My hubby isn't coming home tonight." The chat immediately blew up. We set a time and place, and I went home to change. I put on a pair of small high heels and stepped out, heading to the bar to meet my friends. So why isn't he coming home today? I took a sip of my drink, leaning against my friend. His white moonlight is back. Why would he still care about me, the substitute? Tonight, we're not going home until we're drunk. Drinking was a lot of fun, but when I got back home, my knees almost gave out. Why is Julian back? Isn't he supposed to be wrapped in the warm embrace of his dear Claire? I held on to the doorframe, his sharp gaze snapping me halfway sober. Why are you home? Julian stood up, rolling up his sleeves as he walked toward me. My legs trembled slightly. He knelt on one knee in front of me and helped me change my shoes. If I hadn't already seen the photograph of him and Claire today, I might have actually been fooled by this tender gesture. This is my home. Why can't I be back? I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. The next second he was dragging me into the bathroom. Damn it. I forgot this man hates it most when I go out drinking. Rubbing my aching waist as I walked out of the bathroom, I thought to myself, this time I absolutely must get a divorce. I'll let Claire herself serve this difficult man. Julian, lying beside me, rubbed my waist, his voice low. Will you still go to the bar next time? In my head, I was screaming yes, yes. What are you going to do about it? But out loud, I said, no more, I won't go again. Julian let out a soft chuckle and pulled me tighter into his embrace. The next morning when I arrived at the company, I immediately heard rumors that someone new was being transferred in. Looking at the resume, she wasn't a new employee at all, she was clearly an old flame. I slammed the stack of documents in my hand onto the desk, typed up a resignation letter, and conveniently printed out a divorce agreement as well. After signing my name, I pushed open the door to Julian's office. As I expected, he wasn't there. He must have gone to find Claire again. But that didn't matter. I was here to inform him, not to ask for permission. I tossed the stack of papers onto his desk and went back outside to pack my things. Tina saw this and curiously asked, "Where are you going?" I winked and smiled. "I'm quitting, going to enjoy my life. You can continue being a lowly cog in the machine here." Not caring about her reaction behind me, I held my head high and stepped into the elevator. Beautiful life, here I come. I took my suitcase and returned to the villa. I have to admit, having lived here for over a year, leaving now, I do feel a little reluctant. But clearly, compared to my nostalgia for this villa, the joy of escaping a boss who is both stingy and difficult like Julian is much greater. I pulled out 2 large suitcases, put my hands on my hips, and looked around the house. I finally came to a conclusion: cheap things will be left, and everything expensive will be taken. After all, Julian himself said in the past that the things he bought for me belong to me. Now that I'm leaving, I must naturally take them with me. I stuffed all the valuable items and gifts into the suitcases, filling 2 enormous pieces of luggage, so full I could barely zip them shut. Without asking anyone, I dragged my luggage and left. In any case, it won't be long before he brings the new lady of the house here. At that time everyone will be busy smiling at the newcomer, who would even remember the old one. Am I, Evelyn Jong, the kind of woman who would cry over a man? Of course not. I only cry over money. Unexpectedly, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Tina, the person I disliked the most. "Tina, what did you mean by what you just said? Did you really quit your job?" I was in a good mood, so I messaged her back, "Me, that's right. Do you not understand? Or is there a problem with your ears? Tina Xu isn't even back yet. How can you just quit? Me, this has nothing to do with you. I'll give you some sincere advice. If you like Julian, you should hurry up and make your move. Maybe you'll get a chance to take my position. Don't wait until the new person is in charge and then turn around and be jealous of me. Me, I'm busy now. No need to keep you on WeChat. Deleting you." As soon as I hit send, I immediately blocked and deleted Tina from my contacts. If I weren't still waiting for Julian to schedule the divorce procedures, I would have deleted his contact information as well. Currently, Julian is on a business trip. To avoid him missing the documents on his desk, I even sent him a special text message reminder. "Me, when you get back, remember to look at the documents on your office desk." "Julian, is it very important?" I looked at the scenery flashing past the window, thought for a moment, and replied, "It's quite important. In any case, you'll know when you get back." Julian understood. "That necklace you liked last time, I bought it. I'll give it to you when I return." Seeing this message, I unconsciously bit my lip. What should I do? I suddenly felt a little regretful for resigning so early. I should have waited until I got the necklace before quitting. A miscalculation, a huge miscalculation. I didn't reply to his message. I was too busy feeling heartbroken, but I quickly bounced back. After all, I've saved up quite a bit of money over the past few years. A small necklace. Is it possible I can't afford to buy it myself? Carrying these beautiful thoughts, I arrived at my new residence. I bought this apartment before I married Julian. Back then, I was still paying the mortgage. But because I married him, he generously paid off the remaining balance for me. He wasn't as stingy back then as he is now, so I spent his money without any psychological pressure. Now that I think about it, I'm glad I bought this apartment. Although it's small, it's very cozy. I spent the whole afternoon cleaning the house. Before I started organizing my luggage, I carefully placed each item into the closet and then sprawled out on the bed. In the Rich Girls Club, Group Chat Sisters, I am officially single. If you have any high-quality guys, introduce them all to me. Immediately, messages of concern poured in one after another. I briefly explained the situation. One of my friends said, "This sounds like a pretty good deal. A pretend marriage in exchange for a pile of good stuff." I thought about it. It wasn't exactly pretend. After all, we did everything a married couple should do. We just didn't have a wedding or ever publicly announce our relationship. But I didn't say these words out loud. Everyone in the group has extensive connections. Soon, photos of various young men were being sent to the chat. Every single one was handsome, so handsome I was practically drooling. In the end, I was so dazzled I didn't know which one to choose. So, the sisters in the group boldly suggested, "If you like them all, just schedule to meet all of them." I smiled so wide my eyes crinkled and immediately agreed. In the end, the dates were scheduled. After meeting a few of them, I realized something strange. Julian still hadn't contacted me about the divorce. This was very abnormal. After asking around, I found out that his business trip had been extended, so he wasn't even aware that I had resigned. I propped my chin on my hand, feeling a little uneasy. My friend held her wine glass and looked at me, puzzled. "Why aren't you drinking?" I rubbed my back and leaned in close. "Do you feel a chill down your spine, as if someone is staring intently at us?" She scanned the bar and then froze, as if she'd seen something shocking. Evie, do you want to turn around and see if that cheap, soon-to-be, ex-husband of yours is standing right over there? Hearing this, my whole body went stiff, but I quickly regained my composure. What am I afraid of? I'm the one who filed for divorce. Am I not allowed to find my second shot at love? I turned my head around, and I immediately saw Julian, dressed in a sharp suit, looking completely out of place in the bar's atmosphere. Even from a distance, I could feel the dark expression on his face. When he saw me turn, he raised an eyebrow and jutted his chin toward me. I instantly understood what he meant. My friend patted my shoulder. Go handle your business. After this, you can play as much as you want." All right, I'm going. I feel like he's about to execute me with his gaze." I tried to reassure her, then walked over to Julian. Before I could even say anything, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me into a nearby alley. The people around us all looked at me with eyes that asked, "Do you need help?" I managed a strained smile and waved my hand to signal I was fine. "Julian, what do you think you're doing?" He pressed me against the wall, his eyes dangerous. "I should be asking you what you're doing. Drinking with young men. Having fun, aren't we?" I suddenly felt like I was missing a hat, specifically a green one. I was losing my patience. "Have you been back to the company yet?" "Not yet." Julian frowned. "I came straight here to catch you the moment I got off the plane. Do you think I had time to go to the company? Then I'll let you off the hook for now. But why aren't you with your white Moonlight? Why come looking for me? Go back to the company and look at the documents on your desk. A's for the matter with Claire. I know all about it. Let's just have an amicable breakup. You go be with her. I can even forgive the fact that I was used as a substitute. Just don't stop me from finding my own young, handsome men." I finished speaking, pushed him away, and prepared to leave. But Julian tightened his grip on my wrist, his voice low. "Evelyn, do you think finding your second love is that easy? Do you think I'm dead?" I was getting a little impatient, or rather, I was never a patient person to begin with. The only reason I pampered and respected Julian in the past was because he was the one paying my living expenses. He was my boss. Now that I'm about to get divorced and have already quit, who cares what kind of mood he's in? I shook his hand off. He seemed unprepared for this, freezing for a moment in surprise. I seized that opportunity, turned decisively, and walked away. I stepped onto the sidewalk in my high heels and raised my hand to hail a cab. Who knew that before the car even had a chance to stop, Julian would catch up, wrap his arm around my waist, and half drag, half carry me, stuffing me into his car. I struggled but couldn't break free. Instead, our dramatic movements attracted a lot of curious onlookers. If you don't want to spend the night at the police station, then be a little more cooperative. Although I despised his threatening tone, I also had no interest in touring the local police station, so I gave up struggling. But as I got into the car, I still raised my foot and stomped hard on his. To my surprise, Julian didn't react at all, not even a frown. He just calmly closed the car door, walked around to the driver's side, and placed one hand on the steering wheel. Although the current situation isn't suitable for thinking about these things, I still have to admit that he does possess a certain masculine charm. But when I saw the increasingly familiar road ahead, I lost all mood for such thoughts. "Where are you taking me?" Julian didn't even glance at me, his lips pressed into a thin, tight line. Home. I'm not going back. I've already moved out. If you have something to say it here. But he completely ignored my words. In fact, because of what I said, his expression turned even darker. The entire car felt as if it were enveloped by the cold atmosphere radiating from him. For the sake of my own life, I chose to remain silent. Looking at his current state, I was genuinely worried that if I said one more word, he would step on the gas and drive me straight to the underworld. The car turned into the familiar residential complex. The security guard at the gate bowed to Julian as usual, but he didn't respond. He didn't even look at the guard. It was then that I slowly realized the danger. Julian was a man who, no matter what, always maintained a basic level of courtesy with outsiders. But right now, he couldn't even be bothered with a simple greeting. This meant his mood was truly terrible. And it was the extremely terrible kind. Suddenly, I felt a little scared. Had I known, I would have preferred going to the police station earlier. At least that would be safer than being with him right now. The car stopped in the basement garage. He got out without a word, walked around to the passenger side, pulled open the door, and dragged me out. Then, he slammed the car door shut with a powerful bang. The deafening sound echoed in the quiet underground garage, making my skin crawl. He dragged me into the house. The housekeeper heard the commotion and came out, but before she could even see what was happening, he had already dragged me straight up to the second floor and shoved me into the master bedroom. Before I could even react, he had pressed me down onto the bed. I had just tried to twist away when he grabbed my ankle and pinned me. Still trying to run. When you were hiding from me to go drinking, when you moved out behind my back, did you feel even a little bit guilty? I was baffled. I truly didn't understand what he was so angry about. Could it be that Claire had given him the cold shoulder, so he came back to take his anger out on me? How could I possibly tolerate that? I don't know where I got the strength from, but I suddenly flipped over and pinned him beneath me, sitting on top of him. I looked down at him. Did Claire kick you out, so you ran back here to take it out on me? Looking at his pathetic appearance, I really wanted to slap him, but thinking about how we weren't divorced yet and the assets hadn't been divided, I restrained myself. After hearing this, the anger in Julian's eyes suddenly cooled. Although his brows were still tightly furrowed, he was no longer in that frenzied state. How did you know about Claire? Ah. You thought you hid it well. If you really wanted to keep it a secret, you shouldn't have been in such a hurry to bring her into the company. I not only know about this, I also know that the day you dragged me to the company to sort out documents, it was actually just to free yourself up to pick up your white Moonlight. What's more, when I married you, you wouldn't give me any decent position, always talking about separating public and private life, but when it comes to Claire, you generously give her a top-level position. I said this through gritted teeth. Don't be unreasonable. That's not what happened. Still denying it. Then tell me yourself, did you go to pick up Claire that day or not? He opened his mouth but couldn't say a word. Silence is an admission. I didn't want to listen anymore. In my heart, Julian had already been sentenced. I rolled off the bed, put on my shoes, and didn't bother looking at his reaction. All the documents are on the desk in your office. Once you've filled them out, just let me know. After saying that, I pulled open the door and walked downstairs. It was already quite late. After being messed with by him like this, I didn't know if I could still hail a car. Young madam, it's so late, why don't you just stay here tonight? The housekeeper said. I pursed my lips and shook my head. No need. I'll call someone to pick me up. You should go rest. Without waiting for her to say more, I strode out the door. Although I could feel a gaze fixed on my back, I kept my spine straight and walked forward without turning around. When I reached the main gate, I saw Secretary Xu. Compared to me, who once held the title of secretary, this man was his true secretary. Madame, CEO Xu asked me to take you home. It's true that it's not easy to get a car at this hour. Although I didn't want to have any more dealings with Julian, I wasn't going to make things difficult for myself. So, I nodded, tiredly got into the car, and gave him my address. I also made sure to add, in the future, don't investigate my whereabouts anymore. Secretary Xu gave a strained laugh. It was clear this wasn't something he could decide. Seeing him not reply, I understood immediately. We were both just employees after all. I didn't make things harder for him. When I got back to my small apartment, I lay on my bed and replayed the day's events with him. It was truly a drama from start to finish. When I first married him, I had thought this day might come. But when it actually happened, I realized it wasn't as easy as I thought. No, that's wrong. Uncomfortable. Why should I feel uncomfortable? Do I like Julian? Of course not. So what the hell am I uncomfortable about? I've moved out, we've had a clear talk. Now, all I need to do is sell off all the valuable items on the second-hand market and then go traveling. Isn't that great? What if I meet a handsome guy on the trip? Wouldn't that be even more wonderful? I also don't have to worry about running into Julian and Claire here. Thinking about it, it's really a bargain. The next morning, I decisively posted all the items I brought from Julian's house on a second-hand marketplace. Some people knew how to spot quality goods, but a few items were too valuable, so I had to ask an acquaintance to help me sell them. After getting everything settled, I looked at the number in my bank account, and I was immediately filled with happiness. This feeling was even better than being held by Julian in bed. No, wait. Why am I thinking about him? Right at that moment, my phone notified me of a new friend request. It was from Tina. Does she miss me that much? I said those things to her, and she still wants to be friends again. With the spirit of never refuse anyone, I hit accept. Tina, it turns out there's a woman in this world who is an even bigger green tea bitch than you. Me be clear. When was I ever green tea? Tina, let's not talk about that. You won't believe it. That new person who was just transferred, she's hopeless. CEO Xu just got back from his business trip, and she was all over him. She acts one way in front of men, and another way in front of us. She plays the victim while looking down on me. I counted on my fingers. Today is only Julian's first day back at work. That means this is only the first day Claire has started her antics in the company. And Tina can't take it already. Me, and you're already fed up. I told you so. If you like Julian, you should have made your move early. Now it's too late. Someone else beat you to it. Tina didn't message back. But my phone rang very quickly. I was in the mood for some gossip anyway, so I picked up. You want me to seduce CEO Xu? Do I have a death wish? You don't know. He came to the company today, and when he walked out, his face was so cold it looked like he wanted to hit someone. I went into his office to deliver documents, and my legs were shaking. He came to the company. Then he must have seen the papers I left on his desk. I wonder why he hasn't contacted me yet. Does it really take that long to sign that paper? Today is already Friday. Is he planning to drag this out for another 2 days? While I was busy thinking, Tina's voice started to fade into the background. It wasn't until she called my name several times that I snapped back. Are you even listening to me? Yes, of course. Didn't she just spill coffee on herself and then blame you? Have you never seen that trick before? Is that really worth being angry about? Tina gritted her teeth. Who knew that green tea bitch would even harm herself? You have to come back. She's aiming for your position. The position she has now pays even more than the CEO's secretary. Isn't her motive obvious? I replied indifferently. In any case, she got to that position through her own ability. If you want to compete, go ahead. Maybe Julian will notice you. Tina snorted. What a waste of time talking to you. You're not planning on coming back, are you? Of course not. I'm already planning my vacation. If you still want to keep me on your friends list, don't blame me for sending you my travel photos. Send them. You think I'll be jealous? Giving up such a high-paying job. I'll just wait and see how much you regret it. I just chuckled and said nothing. No matter what I say now, Tina won't admit she's jealous of me. After listening to her complain for a few more minutes about Claire, I finally hung up. Looking at the call history, it lasted 2 hours. I couldn't help but sigh. When we worked together, she couldn't stand the sight of me. Now that I've quit, our relationship has actually gotten closer. How strange. The next morning, I woke up and still no text or call from Julian. I couldn't help but feel puzzled. His white Moonlight is already back, so why won't he grant the divorce? If we don't get divorced, how can I go on vacation? I couldn't comfortably ask Julian directly, so I had to probe Secretary Xu. Me, did CEO Xu not see the divorce papers I left on his desk? Secretary Xu, he saw them. Me, he saw them. Then why hasn't he called me to sign the divorce? Can Claire accept this? Secretary Xu, madam, what does this have to do with Miss Zhang? I tsked. What does it have to do with her not getting a divorce? Does he plan to keep her in this ambiguous position while still being married to me? I suddenly wanted to educate Julian on the seriousness of the crime of bigamy, but after thinking about it, I let it go. Maybe Julian has his own plan, but before I could wait for his next move, I heard some shocking news. I woke up early to see strange messages from employees at Julian's company. They were all congratulating me. I've already quit. What are they congratulating me for? Did I get a job at some big corporation? But I quickly understood the reason. You're actually married to CEO Xu. Tina's words almost made me drop my phone into the toilet. What did you say? What is this? A secret marriage. Why is it suddenly public? This morning, CEO Xu came to the company. wearing a wedding ring. And then he accidentally dropped the marriage certificate right in front of the elevator. An employee picked it up, glanced at it, and saw your wedding photo. This time, I was truly bewildered. What is wrong with Julian? Why would he bring a marriage certificate to the company? We never even bought wedding rings. So where did that ring on his finger come from? I quickly hung up, preparing to call Julian and demand an explanation, but then I heard Tina say, "But, I have to say, because of this, that green tea," bitch's face turned darker than the bottom of a pot. I couldn't care less about Claire's face right now. I just wanted to ask Julian what on earth he was playing at. "I'm hanging up. I'll talk to you later." After hanging up on Tina, I immediately called Julian. It was as if he was waiting for my call. It only rang twice before he picked up. "Julian, what is wrong with you? Why are you wearing a wedding ring to work? Why did you stuff the marriage certificate in your pocket? And what's this about dropping it in front of the elevator for everyone to see?" The other end of the line was silent for a moment, followed by 2 low chuckles. He can still laugh in a situation like this. They just saw it by chance. If anyone asks, just say it was a coincidence. Coincidence my ass. I was so angry I could barely speak. "You're making such a huge fuss. Isn't Claire jealous? Or have you still not managed to win her back, so you're purposefully using this to provoke her?" The other end suddenly went silent. Just when I thought the signal was lost, Julian spoke slowly. "It's not what you think between me and Claire." "What? Still denying it? Is there anyone with even a little knowledge of your past who doesn't know about your unforgettable college love? In any case, just hurry up and settle this. I don't want to see you anymore." With that, I hung up. Very quickly, Tina called again. I answered, annoyed. "Are you and CEO Xu really married?" "It's fake. It's all fake. I don't believe it. To think that all this time I was openly mocking the actual wife. I'm so embarrassed I could die. Why didn't you tell me earlier?" I gave a fake smile. "I already told you. It's fake. Just wait a few days, and you'll understand." Tina clearly didn't believe me. But no matter what she said, I just replied, "It's fake. It's all fake." After hanging up, I finally realized that in the time that had passed, I hadn't been as carefree as I thought. I originally believed I could make a clean break with Julian, but it seems it's not that simple. Realizing this made me even more determined to cut ties with him completely. I didn't want my life to be affected by a transactional marriage. As I expected, Claire took the initiative to meet me. I didn't refuse. To be honest, I was also curious to see what she looked like now. In the past, Julian's friends had said that I and Claire were 2 completely different types of people. But she was abroad back then, so I never had the chance to meet her. "You wanted to see me. What about?" I looked at Claire sitting across from me, quietly observing her for a moment before picking up my coffee cup and taking a sip. Sure enough, she and I were complete opposites. Claire was like a delicate, gentle flower, pure and clean. As for me, even without makeup, I exuded the vibrant, arrogant aura of a red rose. No wonder people said Julian's taste had changed so much in 3 years. "You must know about the situation between me and Julian, right? Then when will you divorce him? I know this isn't fair to you, but I really want to be by his side and take care of him. I also heard that you 2 didn't marry for love in the first place." My hand froze. Not many people knew about this. Did she hear this from Julian's own mouth? Has their relationship already become that close? I laughed, mocking myself. "Miss Zhang, I don't know if he just hasn't told you, or if you've misunderstood. But I already left the divorce papers on his office desk. As for why he hasn't signed them, well, that's his business." I put down my coffee cup and looked at Claire's pale face. I suddenly felt a sense of relief. Or maybe, he just doesn't love you as much as you think he does. If he truly loved you, he would have divorced me the moment he knew you were coming back. Claire forced a smile, as if trying to comfort herself. "Is that so? Maybe. Maybe Julian has just been too busy lately. I'll go back and ask him." I couldn't stand this act of hers any longer. I paid the bill and left. As I walked past the bar I frequented, I hesitated for a moment, but still decided to turn around and go in. That night I drank way too much. As I squatted on the roadside waiting for a car, I subconsciously called Julian. "Do you have to torture me like this? I already left the divorce papers on your desk. Why won't you sign them? What relationship is even left between us? After the divorce, you can go pursue your white moonlight, and I can go enjoy my single life. The real wife is already back, so what do you need a substitute for?" The other end of the line was silent, as usual. "Evie, you are not a substitute. A lot of things are not what they seem. Then explain it." But he went silent again. "I hate this most of all. You're a coward. You're torturing all 3 of us. Julian, you have disappointed me so much. Fine. In that case, just wait 2 more years. I'll sue for divorce directly. I finished speaking, immediately blocked all his contact methods, and got in the car. The next morning, I woke up from my drunken stupor, my mind completely blank, but when I remembered what happened last night, my eyes stung. I wiped away the tears. So, it turns out I had developed feelings. That's why it hurts. That's why I feel so wronged. From that day on, Julian stopped trying to find me. Which made sense. I had blocked all his communication channels. Even if he wanted to, he couldn't. But Tina started contacting me even more frequently. Every day, she would complain about Claire, saying how she always acted like she was the white moonlight. But whenever she was in front of Julian, he just looked annoyed. I was torn between wanting to hear and not wanting to hear about them. But because Tina kept gossiping in my ear, I ended up hearing all the news anyway. I was thankful to her. I had quit my job, but it felt like I never left. One night, I woke up and went to the balcony for some air. I happened to see a car parked downstairs with its lights on. I wouldn't have looked twice, but a second glance almost made me jump. It was Julian. Even though I saw him, I didn't go down. I don't know what he's thinking. Does he want both the white moonlight and me? But life doesn't offer such easy choices. I went back to my room and lay down, but I couldn't sleep. In the end, I unblocked Secretary Ju's WeChat and sent him a message. Tell him to go home. If he keeps waiting downstairs, I'm moving. The next morning, I received a reply from Secretary Ju. That evening, I didn't see his car anymore. But this impasse couldn't continue. If Julian wouldn't divorce me, was I just supposed to wait forever? I still had to proceed with my travel plans. I picked my favorite destination, started planning my itinerary, booked my flight, and reserved accommodation. But just as I was about to depart, Tina sent another message. Tina Claire has been arrested by the police. I shot up from my bed. What? She broke the law. My first thought was the crime of bigamy, but then I thought, if that were the case, the person arrested should be Julian. What does it have to do with Claire? Tina, I don't know the specifics. I just know CEO Xu brought the police. The whole company is in chaos right now. He went with them. I pursed my lips. I had a feeling this wasn't so simple. But right now, besides Julian, no one could explain what was happening. Me, I have to get back to work. I'll let you know if I hear anything. Seriously, if you had just quit 1 month later, you could be here watching the drama unfold live. Me, just go back to work. I hung up. I considered going to the police station but didn't know which one they were at. So, I decided to wait for news at home. I was burning with anxiety but had no one to ask. Tina had no further updates. Near evening, I unblocked Julian's WeChat and sent him a message. I'm done being the substitute. Bring the divorce papers. We need to talk face to face. The reply from his side came very quickly. After setting down my phone, I felt something was off. I cleaned the house, changed my clothes, but after sitting down, I felt I was overthinking this meeting. In the end, I changed back into my house clothes. After going through that whole ridiculous process, just as I stepped into the living room, there was a knock on the door. I went to open it. Standing in front of me was Julian, panting heavily. In his hand, he was clutching the divorce agreement I had left on his desk. Who said you were the substitute? If anyone is a substitute, she is the one substituting for you. Evelyn, from the beginning, I never once saw you as anyone else. So all those rumors, were they just made up by everyone else? I bit my lips slightly, stepped back, and opened the door wider. Come in and talk. Okay. He changed his shoes and followed me into the house. He gently closed the door, which was not his usual style. He seemed almost overly cautious. He sat down across from me. He looked like he had been extremely busy lately. The divorce agreement was placed on the coffee table. It only had my signature. I heard Claire was arrested. Why? She stole confidential company documents and sold them to a third party. I was a little surprised. I didn't think Claire would do something like that. She seemed to love Julian so much, she didn't seem like the type. Seeing my disbelief, Julian took out his phone and played a recording. It was a conversation between him and Claire. Claire's voice said, "Divorce Evelyn. Then marry me. I'll delete all the confidential files I have. If you don't, in the next second, they will appear in the inbox of your biggest competitor." Julian's voice, "You've done this once before. That time it was for money. What about this time? Is it for me?" Claire's voice was silent for a long time. Then she said, "Yes. It's for you. If I didn't still love you, I wouldn't have risked coming back. Back then, you knew I did it. But you had no proof, right? It's the same now. You still have no proof." I looked up at Julian. I could see the exhaustion on his face. I had never heard about Julian's company having confidential documents leaked. After all, by the time I joined, his company was already a major force. He turned off the recording. He rubbed his face with both hands, as if he had been preparing for a long time just to say these words. It's just as she said. 5 years ago, she had just graduated and was working at my company. But for money, she sold confidential documents to a competitor. By the time I found out, she had already taken the money and fled the country, leaving the company in a terrible mess. Without evidence, the company could only swallow the loss. It was a difficult time, but I never stopped searching for news about her. She was just too good at hiding, so even after years of searching, I found no clues. 2 years ago, I suddenly noticed a new, specific follower on my social media accounts. Then, rumors about me having a first love in college suddenly started spreading. I guessed that Claire was secretly monitoring me from overseas. Listening to this, I had pretty much figured out the rest. So, you married me, and you intentionally chose someone with an appearance completely opposite to hers. You wanted her to feel that even after what she did, you still hadn't forgotten her, that you were so hate about it that you found a substitute. Julian looked at me, his expression pained. That's right. Not long ago she contacted me. She believed that as long as she returned, I would forgive what she did 5 years ago. I used this opportunity to make her return on her own, so I could catch her red-handed. So, from the very beginning, this was all just a trap set by Julian. And I was just a pawn in his game. He just didn't expect to fall for his own pawn. This time the confidential documents were also intentionally leaked by you for her to find. When she came to you, everything was already set. You just had to bring her in. I nodded. A smirk played on my lips. So, your refusal to divorce me was also to provoke Claire, to make her show her hand. Julian looked at me with guilt-filled eyes, his voice somewhat agitated. That was only part of the reason. The more important reason is, I genuinely don't want to divorce you. Evelyn, I love you. I didn't doubt his words. You can tell if someone likes you or not just by looking at them. But I couldn't continue a marriage based on such a setup. When I first agreed to marry you, it was my own choice. At the time, I naively thought I wouldn't develop feelings for you. It seems I overestimated myself. But that doesn't mean I won't get a divorce. My marriage shouldn't start with deception. Besides, if you had this plan from the beginning, why didn't you tell me? Were you afraid I would let it slip? He completely deflated. The man who could command the wind and rain in the business world now looked like someone who had lost everything. I'm sorry. But Claire is extremely defensive. I was worried that if I couldn't get the evidence this time, I would never have another chance. I patted his shoulder lightly. You don't need to apologize. After all, I came to you with less than pure motives in the beginning, too. You wanted to find Claire, and I wanted your resources. In the end, we're both the same. Do we really have to get divorced? I looked him straight in the eyes and nodded slightly. I cannot accept a marriage that is transactional and based on deceit. He let out a long, heavy sigh. All right, I understand. The next day, Julian and I went to finalize the divorce procedures. Looking around the processing office, we were probably the calmest couple there. So calm that we didn't look like we were getting a divorce at all. Taking my divorce certificate, I was about to turn and leave. Can I have another chance? I smiled. We're both free agents now. I have no right to stop you from pursuing anyone. That chance is something you have to create for yourself, not something I can give you. Take good care of yourself. I patted his shoulder, nodded at Secretary Xu who was walking over, and declined Julian's offer to drive me home. After taking just 2 steps, I thought of something. I turned back and said to him, oh, right. One more thing. All those things you gave me before. I sold them all. You don't mind, do you? I stuck out my tongue, pretending to be embarrassed. Julian looked at me for a long time and finally, as if a great weight had been lifted, he chuckled softly. They were gifts to you. You had every right to do what you wanted with them. I don't mind. Good then. I'm off. I wish you great success in your career. By the time I relayed the whole story to Tina, I was already on a train to Dali. In the end, I decided to take the train to enjoy a slow life. You really divorced CEO Xu. You let go of such a rich tycoon. You better not regret it later. If you like him, you should go fight for him. I told you, if you like someone you have to pursue them. Forget it. Just looking at CEO Xu's face gives me anxiety. Hearing her ramble, I burst out laughing. Finally, Tina sighed. I'm so jealous of you. Quitting your job and just traveling freely. Then you should quit too. You think everyone is like you? I smiled and didn't reply. Over the phone, Tina's voice suddenly became serious. Evelyn, have a wonderful trip. I was a little stunned, then smiled softly. Yeah, I will. I had been in Dali for half a month. One morning, I suddenly heard someone calling my name from outside the window. I pushed open the window and immediately saw Julian standing below. He was wearing simple clothes, a gentle smile on his lip. I leaned against the window frame. "What are you calling me for?" I was wondering if I might have the honor of inviting Miss Evelyn for a walk. I couldn't help but laugh, my eyes shining with a brightness. I clearly wanted to go down immediately, but I still put on a cool facade. "Oh, well, I suppose I can grant you this honor. Wait for me down there." The first marriage was over. As for the future, who knows? For now, it's best to just enjoy the present. Thank you for watching until the end. If you enjoyed this sweet romance story, please like, share, and subscribe to Sweet Cherry Novel for more heartwarming tales. See you in the next story.